You know, that's a good point. I've been on record for the last 4 years talking about the things I'm going to do, and unfortunately they haven't changed. I am anti-corruption. I am for fiscal responsibility. I stood before the Board of Supervisors in 2008 and told them, look, folks, you're focusing on the wrong thing. The problem isn't our jails. I could fix our jails in 15 minutes. I spent 7.5 years in my career in those jails. I know every water cooler in them. I drank out every one of them. I know the problems there. But we were heading for a train wreck economically. And if you couldn't see that, you weren't paying attention. And I told them that's the big problem with our government. Our budget has ballooned from $270 million when Mike Corona took office to over $800 million. At the beginning of this year, after our incumbent sheriff had been appointed in office for more than 6 months, they directed her to cut 3% of the budget. Now I could cut 3% of that $870 million budget with my eyes closed and increase performance and cut costs. What we need is somebody who'll go in there and understand the organization, knows how to change fundamentally, like you would a business, change the operation. Layoffs, folks, is a bureaucratic solution, right? A bureaucrat doesn't have, they don't look at the government money like it's their money. There's no stake in it. It's spend, 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 layoffs. Now, what are you going to do next year? Well, we see what we're doing next year. We're doing more layoffs. Well, how does that work? You need to focus on the problem, which is reorganizing the department. Now, I've proposed several things. One, we start charging our inmates back for health care. Has health care been a big issue around here? In the nation right now? The state of California, I told the Board of Supervisors this in 2008 and in 2005, allows us to charge inmates back if they have health care. We can charge them for self-initiated visits, a fee of $6 or $7. It's in the penal code. We don't do it, but we're on the edge of bankruptcy. How do you explain that? I would shut down our chow halls, these big, archaic, public safety nightmares, turn them into overflow housing, stop citing and releasing our misdemeanors out into the street and giving our hard-earned beds to the federal government. That's absurd. We are giving tickets to our crooks and putting them in your backyard, and we're going to bring the federal government into our jails? We start holding people accountable for their actions, stop ORing them, making them pay bail, make them use a private attorney instead of a public defender. Now we're starting to create revenue in the county that will make real change. And unless we get somebody who thinks creatively, we're not going to fix the problem. Thanks.
I know that.
All right. A struggle for philosophy. What do you want your elected official? We need to start vetting our candidates. That was my message last time. Don't believe the hype. Get out there and look at the candidate that you're thinking about supporting. Find out what their values are. What is their background? What are these people committed to do for you? Will they really understand that they work for you, that that they are a steward of a public entity, that they are responsible to us? Because it's one thing to get up here and say, I understand I work for you, and another thing to say, but I'm not going to respect your rights. I mean, we heard the same thing with Barack Obama in his State of the Union speech. We're getting the same thing from our incumbent sheriff. I respect you, you're my boss, but guess what? I'm not going to respect your Second Amendment right. And if you don't respect the Second Amendment right, you don't respect any of our rights. And it goes back to our duty as elected officials. This is about philosophy. That's why I'm in this race. Believe me, like the Deputy Chief Hunter just said, it would be far easier for me to stay home with my wife and 4 kids rather than get up and go out and do this stuff while I'm trying to run a business in a tough economy. But I believe in my vision, and guess what? I've looked around at the alternatives, and I don't have faith in them. I know what my values are. I know what I'm committed to do, and I know very clearly what that organization will look like in 18 months. And the people in this room, if you support me, you're going to look back and you're going to say, what took so long? Thank you. Second Amendment of the United States Constitution, a well-regulated militia being necessary to the security of a free state, the right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed.
That's it. That's it. That's it.
Let's go to playbook number 2, which is the State of California Constitution. Article 1, Section 1. Right at the front, folks. You don't have to look too far. All people are by nature free and independent and have inalienable rights. Among these are enjoying and defending life and liberty, acquiring, possessing, and protecting property, and pursuing and obtaining safety, happiness, and privacy. Let me tell you, I'm not concerned about mountain lions. I'm concerned about the lions that are being sighted and released out into your backyard. Police officers do not interrupt crimes of progress, folks. We have gotten to a point where we're causing law-abiding citizens to come into one person, appointed or elected, who makes you dance and prove to them that you deserve your Second Amendment right. The burden should be on them to prove that you aren't responsible. If I'm sheriff, I'm telling you this right now, and it's the gospel truth. Every law-abiding citizen who applies for a CCW goes through the process, passes the background check, and tells me that they want to carry for personal protection is going to get a CCW, because personal protection is good cause. That's fundamentally what the First Amendment and our state constitution guarantees. That's the law. Let's not confuse law and hide behind policy. Thank you.